Ain't no love in the heart of the city. I said it ain't no love in the heart of town. Ain't no love in the heart of the city. I said it ain't no love in the heart of town. Ain't no love in the heart of the city. Boom, there we go. All right, we are live. I said it ain't no love in the heart of town. Ain't no love in the heart of the city. All right, people. Here we go. I'm coming to you all late tonight, on tonight, as they say in the church. I'm coming to you guys late on tonight to do a story, not necessarily a story, but I'm doing a show that I really didn't want to do. And I really didn't want to do it because of the content of this show. I guess this is one of those things that I felt that I had been seeing for quite some time, and it was just a series of events um, in social media and just discussions that I've just seen over like the past maybe couple of weeks before like the R. Kelly thing started. But I saw something on Steve Harvey, and then I saw something else that was just going around on Facebook, and it was disturbing to me to the point to where I said I wanted to have a conversation about it, and we needed to have a conversation about it. So I just wanted to, I guess, put my 2 cents in on it, bring what I feel to the forefront, to the light, whatever you want to call it. I just felt I needed to say something about it. And I said I need to go ahead and just do it, and I'm gonna do it now. So I had been putting it off, and today is the day. So this is pretty much what I wanted to talk about. And the title of the show is just basically asking the question, should we humiliate or embarrass, discipline, beat, whatever you want to call it, to our children, teach them a lesson? They're going to learn the day, whatever we want to call it. Should we do that on social media? And I kind of went back and forth about it for a while, just thinking about it like, man, would this be something that I would do with my child? And it's like, I don't see myself doing anything like this with my kid, especially to the degree that I'm seeing it on social media. And I'm going to explain why. But I first want to show this video. Actually, I got a couple of videos that I want to show first that I want you guys to see, so that you can see where I got my point of view from and why I'm saying what it is that I'm saying. So do I think that kids need to be taught? Absolutely. Do I think there are some times that kids need to be disciplined? Most definitely. I believe that kids need, crave, and desire, and they want structure. However, I think that there is a responsibility that are put on not just parents but other adults as to how that happens. When it comes to hurting a kid, when it comes to disciplining a kid, whooping a kid, spanking a kid, all that is relative to what the situation is and to the degree that it's done, right? My thing is this. When you, and I'll refer back to this throughout the video, when you tear down a kid, or when you tear down a person, period, you have to build them back up. And when you do that, you have to know what it is you're doing, why you're doing it, so that when you are building them back up, you are actually building them, you're building up what you tore down, essentially. Because I believe that that's the initial point of discipline and saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do with my kid. This is why I'm doing this to my kid. It has to make sense. It has to make sense to not just you, but more so to the kid. And I think that's where things get really, really lost, and they get real fuzzy, and they get real fucked up, and the kids are the one that ultimately suffers from it. Because what we think is okay in our mind, if it's not relating to the kid's not learning the lesson. And the kid's being, destroyed, tore down, being embarrassed, being humiliated, and there is nothing being learned from it. And the kid winds up suffering from it. So I think that's one of the biggest things that we have to be cognizant of when we're disciplining our children and the way that we do it, which is why I'm doing this video. So first and foremost, federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe on copyright under 17 USC 107. All right, so here we go. This first video that I am going to play, and you know what? I want to make sure that I'm still good on this. Oh yeah, I am. I guess it just ain't nobody on the damn chat. That's fine too. And even though we can even turn one, let me switch it and see if I can just turn it off and do it this way. Well, you know what? Nope, I'm gonna leave it the way that it is. So, let's go ahead and do that. Do that. Q. All right. So here we go. I'm gonna play this first one, and we'll go from there. Boom and boom. Turn that off and turn that on.
I'll show you up.
The haircut we came up with here at the shop to help the parents out as far as reaching the kids that were being disruptive at home or in school. It worked on my son. His grades had dropped, and I shaved his hair bald, and his grades skyrocketed afterwards.
You know, it's not hurting them physically, so you can get your point across.
So I'm sure people have seen the video of the kid who got his head shaved, got the old George Jefferson or whatever, right? I laughed at that shit myself when I first saw it just because of the haircut. It was funny. And just seeing what it was and seeing why it was done, you know, it's like, what kind of message, even though we see it and there's a shock value to it, there's some laughter involved with it. It's like we're laughing at it, but what is the kid really learning from it? You know, and it was like, that was something that was really disturbing to me, is to say, well, damn, what is the kid learning from it? You're punishing the kid, but it's like when you do it and you do it on social media, then the kid doesn't really learn the lesson, then do they? And then this is something that's being put out in the world and it's going to be there for like forever, right? Because that whole thing of saying, oh, I put it up, but then I took it down. If somebody saved it, if I saved it, whoever saved it, it's out here and it can be recirculated. So you're not protecting your kid, number one, in that aspect, which is one of the first reasons why I don't like it, because it's something that's out there forever. And you can say whatever you want to say. It was my page. You ain't had no right to share it. If you do anything on social media, if you post anything on social media, regardless of what your intention is, you are putting it out for the world to see. And the world has the right to do with it whatever they want. So you don't get to dictate what somebody puts out into the world. I mean, what you put out into the world, you don't get to dictate how people use it. That just doesn't make any sense. And I think that we have that idea to say, well, it's my content and I created it. Yeah, but if you put it out into the world, then those people have the right to do whatever it is they want with it. It's just like if you throw away your trash. You take something and you throw it in the trash. Somebody else comes and get it and does something else with it. You don't get to tell them what to do with it. It's theirs. What you put out and what you gave away is for whoever gets it or sees it or takes it. It's for them to use however they like. So whatever your intention may have been with it, what you intend for somebody else to do with it, you don't have no control over that. And you can't expect somebody to do what you want them to do with something that you put out there, regardless of what your intentions are. So you have to be very careful with the content that you create and what you put out there. So I want to watch this next one.
Tired, huh? This is how I feel when the teachers have to call me. See, because last time you went to school and had a fit and a meltdown because you told the teachers I was going to whoop you with a belt. So now we will punish you this way. Scoot on over there and get that dancing going. With your gray jeans. Huh? a great thing. No, you can wear that shirt with your
What's up,
great
OG
thing.
Do Dirty?
Get off the table. Go the way, dance the way you was doing on the table for the students. Did the teacher tell you to stop and you kept going? Yeah, well, she told me that in front of you and you didn't say nothing. So keep it going, bro.
So, for those of you who have not seen this, let me just give you a brief synopsis of what's happened. This kid at school was dancing. To what I could gather from the information that she said, he got up on the table and was dancing in class or whatever. So now, I guess once the teachers told the kid that they were gonna, tell his parents, his mother or whatever, because obviously there ain't no daddy involved, but told the mother, they were going to tell his mother, he began to tell them how the last time he got in trouble, how he got beat. So when he got whooped with a belt, whatever the case may be, which is where the teachers would have to call DCFS or Child Protective Services, or they'd have to step in and intervene. However, what has happened now is that this kid is now being punished because she can't whoop him because she don't want, the school to get on her, or the state to get involved. She now is going to put his punishment on social media, and she's going to have him, she has him dancing until it hurts. Now the kid seems to have been crying probably in the beginning, but he's kind of like not crying, because I saw a moment where she asked him a question and he just like stood right up and answered like nope. But that's pretty much what's happening.
Shoot like you was doing. Shoot it. Shoot it. Shoot it. That's how you do. Let's get it. Do the dance you learned yesterday from Fortnite. I'm not playing. Do all of them.
So my thing is this: it's like, where's the lesson in this? It's like you have a kid doing something, or you have him overindulging in something, and there's no lesson being taught. And that's the problem that I have with this. It's like when you're putting it on social media, first of all, which benefits the kid in no shape, form, or fashion. So you're doing that piece for attention alone. So I don't care what nobody say. You ain't trying to educate nobody else out in the world by putting your kid on social media, and you're doing this because this ain't help. This ain't about what everybody in the world is seeing. This is about what you're showing the world. And if this is what you want to show the world, then you're showing the world basically how you're embarrassing or how you're bullying your own kid. That's all it is. Paint it however you want. You can try to shape it up another different way. That's a bunch of bullshit. There's no reason for you to discipline your child on public social media publicly. You don't need to do that. When you discipline your kid, that should be something between you and that kid, and it should be something to where you're explaining what it is that you're doing and why you're doing it. So let me give you an example. Let's say, for instance, you have your kid and your kid does something like make fun of a homeless person, right? Or your kid gets caught, talking about a homeless person, saying they stink, saying that they shoes, his clothes is messed up, whatever, right? You want to teach your kid a lesson? Okay. You don't need to beat your kid. Why not take your kid to a homeless shelter and make your kid feed the homeless? And then while your kid is feeding the homeless, you're explaining to your kid that these people that are homeless because of drug addiction. They're homeless because of mental illness. They're homeless because they didn't recover from certain life choices that they made. So it's not something that these people aspire to be. It's just something that has happened to them due to the events that have occurred in their lives. And yes, there is a certain amount of control that they may have or may not have had in those decisions, but nevertheless, this is the result, and this is what they've been brought. This is the point they've been brought to in their life. That's nothing to make fun of. That's how you educate a kid or discipline a kid, and that's what you say to a kid that's done something wrong. Now, go and serve them food. Go and clean their shoes, buff their shoes, whatever you want to do. After that, that's fine. But you don't need to beat your kid on social media doing that, right? And if that's something that you want to put on social media after it's been done, and you explain it that way, and you give the narrative as to what is happening, why you're doing it, that's fine. But you should do it in a conversation piece. You should do it in a piece to where you're actually teaching your child and you're showing people that you're teaching your child by not embarrassing that kid, by not humiliating that kid. That's the difference, and that's the problem that I have here. You're not doing anything. That kid's not learning anything except for I'ma hate dancing because you made me overindulge in it. And I don't see how people are trying to put logic to that to say, oh, well, that makes sense. You should know not to dance in school. God damn it, there's a such thing called a dancing school. And this kid could have just been cutting up, or this kid could have been doing it just because he did something stupid and made a poor choice. You educate the kid on that. Because those expectations that you get set for them, like all parents do, we all want our children to essentially do the right thing. But when they do the wrong thing, we need to be the ones that have a course of action that is set and that's in place that's not going to embarrass them, but it's going to educate them so that they make better choices. Because that's essentially what this kid did. And you can't tell me in no shape, form, or fashion that having this kid dance like this ain't going to keep him from making another bad choice. It's not. Because at the end, and based on those people who are saying, well, nah, that is what you do. You can do that. Okay, so if your kid get caught sucking dick in a locker room at school, so by your logic, then you're going to have your kid just suck an abundance of dicks until they just hate it and then they're not going to do it no more. Is that what you're going to do? No, that doesn't make sense, right? You don't make a kid overindulge in something to get them to stop doing it. If you parenting every day, if you're teaching your kid every day, if you're setting those expectations every day, and if you're not rewarding bad behavior with your child will learn their lessons. They will learn what it is that you expect of them, and then they will go ahead and move forward and start to make the correct decisions. It's just what it is, as opposed to doing this.
Oh, now I'm tired.
Because all she doing is talking shit.
School today. Get it now.
What is he getting from this?
Do the other dance. Keep it going.
You're just making him do these dances. You're making him do this, but he's not learning anything from this.
Oh, now you're going to call.
You know, and I get it. The kid is, hey, or over exaggerating whatever because he's tired. The kid is fucking exhausted and he's not understanding what the lesson he needs to be learning. All he's understanding is that I'm just having to dance a long ass time and listen to my mama talk shit.
Keep going.
And even when you listen to her,
I've seen you do the same dance. Do the different ones.
Everything she's talking about, it's about her.
Because you finna dance.
It's all about her. See? You gonna dance till I get tired. This is how I feel when I get calls from the teacher. I don't want to see the same dances no more. You standing here with your gray pants on. You gonna keep doing this. And she's just sitting there watching it, and she's just filming this shit to post on social media. This is 5 minutes and 30 seconds of what she's showing. What are you teaching your kid right here? I don't get it.
With all that feeling, go ahead. I'm not playing. That ain't good enough.
So you're not dancing good enough.
This is what y'all do. Y'all act the fool for everybody. And y'all gonna stop it. The teachers don't have to put up with this.
So you saying he acting a fool for everybody, but you sit here and make him act the same fool and put it on social media.
That's your job.
I don't get it.
If I went to work and was doing these dances, my boss will fire me. Keep going.
So if you was doing these dances, your boss would fire you. How does that relate to that kid? How does he understand that? Well, that's enough of that one. And then this was the initial one that I had saw on Steve Harvey that actually got my wheels to turn.
Down to his 10-year-old daughter went viral. Now, ladies, I want you to look at this video, and then we're going to discuss it.
This lovely lady is my 10-year-old daughter, who has, for the second time this school year, been kicked off the school bus due to bullying another student. Let me make this extremely clear. Bullying is unacceptable, especially in my household. So today, my beautiful daughter is going to walk 5 miles to school in 36-degree weather. I know a lot of you parents are not going to agree with this, but that is all right.
Well, so ladies, I expect to get some diverse reactions here. Is this a teachable moment, or did this dad go too far?
Oh, it's a teachable moment for him. This is, in my opinion, utterly unacceptable. He's doing it for him, which is why he recorded this. No, I totally disagree. And when a child is a bully at school is because they are feeling bullied at home. It's not a question. It's not. I'm sorry, no. And he's choosing to humiliate her publicly, which is unacceptable. Those lessons are meant for the household. It's not his opportunity. I couldn't disagree more. I would never do that to my child. And maybe we should look at why his child is behaving that way, because she's learning it at home.
Now, I agree with her. And I agree with her because of what she said and the way that she said it. So, yeah, you want to make your kid walk somewhere or whatever, that's one thing. Making your kid walk 5 fucking miles to school because they were bullying, it's like, what is the teaching part to that to say, well, this is what I want my child to learn? Because if you do something wrong or you do something I don't like, then you got to walk 5 miles. How the fuck does a kid learn that lesson? You don't learn the lesson that way. So it's like there has been, and like you said, this is the second time that this has happened. So then there has to be something else to this, to where you need to get to the root of the problem, as opposed to just saying, I'm going to make my kid walk 5 miles in the cold and put it on social media. If you're going to discipline your kid in the privacy of your own home. Discipline the kid to where you're explaining to the kid what it is that they're doing is wrong, and these are the consequences for it. Walking 5 miles to school ain't teaching your kid shit, except for, damn, I don't want to get caught next time by my dad. Because this is what the fuck he's gonna do. You're not teaching the kid the lesson. And you're not finding out why this kid is doing this to this kid. You're just not. Because that has nothing to do with bullying. Walking 5 miles ain't got shit to do with bullying. It just doesn't.
And as much as I love you, I could not disagree more. Let me tell you, I could not disagree more.
You think it's okay for him to publicly humiliate?
Absolutely. When I was growing up, when I misbehaved, my mother would beat me down with the first thing in her reach.
Now, do you hear the applause? When you did something wrong, the first thing my mama would do is beat me with anything that was in reach. Was there a time when parents beat the shit out of their kids to teach them a lesson? Yes. Was there a time when kids would get their ass whooped for stepping out of line? Yes. However, with what we have grown to today as a society, that doesn't mean that because it was done back then that it's the best thing to happen now. It just doesn't. Do you reward bad behavior? Abso-fucking-lutely not. But I would hope that we have come to a place and have grown to a point as a fucking country and as a society to where we can have a conversation with our child. We can have a conversation with each other. And it doesn't have to result in, if you do something I don't like, I'm going to beat the shit out of you with the closest thing that I can put my hands on. You can't still tell me that that's right and that's the way that it should go. With everything that we see in social media, with everything that we see with just society today, you can't tell me that that's the way to go. Our parents did some shit back in the day that was fucking wrong. And now that there's an opportunity to see that, hey, maybe it's something that could be done a different way or done right, that doesn't mean that you just disregard that shit and say, no, we ain't doing nothing right. We gonna keep doing the way we've been doing it because my mama beat the shit out of me, and look at how I turned out. And look at how you turned out. Looking like a fucking black Woody Woodpecker with that fucking gold shit on top of your head. It's a fucking disgrace. But you can't tell her shit because she got it figured out.
And I did have people make a video about it. I would get a whooping, and then I would be put on restriction, and then I would get the public humiliation. But I didn't grow up. I have never bullied anybody, and I have never been bullied.
I definitely agree with Diane. In my household growing up, it was if you do the crime, you pay the time.
I don't know what the fuck that means where you pay the time, but it's supposed to be you do the crime, you do the time. But that's neither here nor there.
On the time. Well, I don't agree with publicly humiliating a child. That's for his own ego.
Well, you know,
there's no reason to do that. None.
I don't understand how how they're not seeing that. It's not about disciplining your kid. Yeah, if your kid does something that they're not supposed to do and you're gonna discipline them, that's one thing. What the fuck does social media have to do? What is that teaching that kid? It's not teaching that kid nothing. And like Jillian said, he's doing it for himself. You wanna look what I'm doing to my kid, y'all. Look how I'm treating my kids, y'all. When they do something bad, I make them walk 5 miles and I post it on Facebook, on Instagram, so everybody in the world can see what I do to my kid when my kid do something wrong. You're not teaching shit to that kid. You're not doing anything with that kid. Because all you're doing is you're doing the tear down. There is no video of the conversation that you should be having with the kid. There is no, hey, like Jay Rich said, the punishment needs to fit the crime. So it's like you're going to punish it, have it relate to the crime. Have it relate to the crime. And sometimes there are certain punishments that you can't relate back to them. What do you want to do? Have somebody come and bully that kid to teach that kid a lesson? That's not teaching the kid anything. But maybe if you go and have a conversation with that kid and the kid that she bullied, that kid and the kid that letting the kid see what the fuck she did and how it made that other kid feel. Maybe they should see that. That would be saying, hey, I'm teaching my kid why they shouldn't do what it is that they're doing. Not just making them walk, making their feet hurt, making them tired as shit and cold as fuck so that I can say, yeah, they got their ass punished.
She deserves to be punished, not humiliated.
Here's the deal. There is no book on how to raise children. It's not a manual.
Very true.
Everybody's different. But all of these ladies have valid points. I can see it from all sides as a TV show host. Now,
Come on, Steve.
as Steve Harvey, I would have loved to walk to school. My daddy could have had me skip the whole 5 miles. We could have done a slow trot for 5 miles. Anything but what would really have happened. I can understand where Jillian is coming from because you got to look at, there's a lot of stuff that's cultural too. And you have to understand them. You got to respect that about people because there are different ways of doing it. But I can understand where everybody's coming from. Me personally, I can see what Jillian say is for the guy because he posted it.
Exactly.
And you would never publicly humiliate.
Exactly. Because he posted it. And let me say this. Because a lot of people are going to watch this and think about saying, yeah, well, our parents or our grandparents, parents, and all that used to beat the shit out of their kids. Let me explain to you why things were different back then as compared to being now. You know, back in the day, and I'm talking way back in the day, I'm talking in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, a kid stepping out of line, a kid fucking up, a kid doing some shit that was wrong could ultimately result in a kid losing their life. It could ultimately have, just life-changing consequences for something as innocent, i.e., a Emmett Till situation. You know, a kid fuck up back in the fucking 50s could fuck around and get hung. A kid that fucks up in the 40s could get hung, could get their ass whipped. So there was the consequences of fucking up was so much graver back then that a parent would have the mind, because they were beat into submission. I need to beat my child into submission. And it's not a thing of just saying that's what it was back then and that's what they did. It was learned behavior. They got their ass beat into submission, so they beat their children's ass into submission. We're not in that time yet anymore, though. We've evolved and we've moved on and we've moved forward. So you don't have to beat the living shit out of your kid to get them to do what you want them to do. If you want to have your kid follow your directions, you need to teach your kid. You have to have ongoing parenting. It's not just parenting when shit goes left. It's parenting when shit goes right. Because that parent that you saw walking that kid to school, that parent that you saw beating their kid's ass, that parent that you saw taking their kid to the barbershop to get the old man haircut, or that parent that got their kid dancing in the fucking kitchen for I don't know fucking how long, you won't see not one video on any of their social media pages of them praising their child, reading with their child, teaching their child some life skills. You won't see any of that. They won't post that. And the reason why? Because it ain't going to get no likes. Plain and simple. And to turn right back around with that, you won't see me doing it either. But you won't see me embarrassing my kid on social media. You won't see me sitting there posting me whipping the shit out of my kid, smacking the fuck out of my kid, making my kid dance in the kitchen, making my kid walk 5 miles to school, and I ain't got shit else up on my kid's page, because that's a reflection of you. I ain't got nothing else on my page about me teaching my kid jack shit, but every time my kid fuck up, I'm putting that out for the whole world to see. I'ma beat mine. I'ma check mine. I'm going to show mine what time it is. Mine going to learn today. That's the problem with this. Because you're just talking about the bad and you're just punishing a kid and you're embarrassing a kid and humiliating them publicly on social media. That kid didn't ask for that. And that kid didn't do that to you. So why do you feel it's okay to do it to them? Because you're a fucking bully. And in my opinion, you an ain't shit pussy ass parent. Because if somebody was to do that shit to your ass, you want to sue. Let's take a look at your life and take all your fuck ups and put them on social media. Let's put that time you gave that nigga some head at the back of the club. Let's put that on social media. You shouldn't have did that. Let's put that on social media. That bum ass nigga you fucked in the cot so you can get your rent paid. Let's put that on social media. How about that girl that played your ass at the bar when you tried to pick up and she treated your ass? Let's put that on social media. That's embarrassing, right? But we won't take a second to just say, well, is there a better way to go about this? And that's what a parent does. What's the best way to do this? Yeah, I know there's a way I could do it. I could be an asshole. I could be a dick about this and embarrass my kid. Is there a better way to do this? How about I have a conversation with my kid? Why not say, and I'm telling you like this, yeah, is there a time in raising a kid where you may have to spank them? Yes. But that shouldn't be your first course of action. There should be a conversation. There should be expectations set. Then there should be a conversation about if those expectations aren't met and you're consistently doing the same thing, what the consequences are going to be, so that you prepare the child for what this shit leads up to. Because I know there are people saying, yeah, but in life shit ain't like that. You're right. But in life, the first time you fuck up, you don't go to jail, go directly to jail, do not pass go, do not collect $200. You don't do that either. So you can't say that this is justifying. The ends justify the means. You explain to the kid that there are consequences and repercussions for your actions. And that don't always have to result in your ass getting whooped. It just don't. Or it don't have to always result in you dancing in the kitchen. Or you walking 5 miles to school in 36-degree weather. That's not what it's about. That's not the way that you teach a kid, because what that does is it psychologically tears a kid down. And when you tear a kid down and you don't build them back up, you just have a torn and a broken person. And that's why kids be fucked up So when they do get 17, 18, 19, they don't want to have shit to do with their parents and they're out living in the streets. Then they become a Centoya Brown. Then they become, a fucking Menendez brother. Then they become a fucking R. Kelly. Then they become a fucking whatever the fuck else that's out there in the world. Y'all know what these kids go through? We have a multitude of ain't shit parents out here. And we need to be setting a better example of parenting by saying, hey, let's do something different by at least having a conversation with our kid. And if we're going to put it on social media, put the entire process on social media and let's leave out the physical abuse. Because it's enough of that. I can Google bum fights or somebody getting their ass whooped and I can see that all day long. Let's start posting a teachable moment. Let's start posting a kid who has turned their life around. Let's start posting the positive shit. Let's start posting parents doing what the fuck they supposed to do with their kids. Let's make that go viral. As opposed to dealing with this type of shit.
But then I look at the public humiliation that the child that was being bullied must have felt.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
So I can understand both sides of the rearing. It's just I came from a different era, but that walk to school in Ohio in 36 degrees, 5 miles. Probably the last time you jump on a little girl like that.
Absolutely.
Probably the last time. Yeah. Hey, we're gonna take a quick break.
So my thing is this. It probably could be the last time, but you can't tell me that you couldn't, if you're spending time in teaching your kid every day, consistently, that you couldn't have got that same result by having a conversation with that kid. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that if I'm spending time with my kid and teaching my kid the right way to do things, when they do fuck up, because I've already demonstrated to them consequences and repercussions. And the fact that I've explained that to my child, when they do step out of line, all I got to do is go back and discipline them verbally. I can't tell you how many times and how easy it is for me to discipline my own kid just by using my words. The tone and inflection of my voice, the look that I give my kid, I can bring her to tears. Because I spend so much time with my baby girl that she knows when I'm disappointed. And she wants to please her father. She wants to please her mother. Kids want to please their children, their parents. That's a fact. Say whatever the hell you want. When you're raising them and you're spending time with them, they want to make you happy. A kid naturally wants to please their parents. It's just like a fucking dog. You can beat the shit out of a dog, and that dog will come right back to you if you're that dog's master. Why? Because that dog knows you and wants to please you. He wants to be your dog. Same thing with a kid. I remember, shout out to my boy Tommy Sotomayor. I remember when Tommy showed a video of a kid and a parent in Africa or somewhere where she beat the shit out of the kid, smacked him, kicked him, threw him down, like body slam a little baby. Baby could have been no more than 2. Slammed him. Right? Kid is crying in pain and in tears. And what the kid do? Reaching for the mommy. Wanting the mama. The same motherfucker that just beat him and body slammed him to the ground was the very same person that he was reaching for. Kids have that instantaneous bond to please, to want the approval and the praise of their parents. So if you're fostering that from birth, if you're teaching that and nurturing that from birth, then yes, you may have to pop a kid on the hand or something for touching a stove one day so that they won't burn themselves. So yes, I can see you inflicting that pain on a kid from slapping their hand or popping them on the butt. I can see you doing that to keep them from suffering a bigger pain by them burning their hand. Getting a 3rd-degree burn is a hell of a lot more painful than getting a pop on the butt. Absolutely. But there's a lesson to be learned in that. And you should not have to do that every single time you have an issue with your kid or you have a problem with your kid. So when you're talking about saying, how do I discipline my kid? You explain to the kid why you don't want them to do something. And you explain to them what your expectation is. And then if they keep doing it, you explain to them what the consequences and repercussions will be. You start off with them saying that, hey, I am very disappointed. I do not like it when you do that. It makes me sad as your father when you do this. And if they continue to do the shit, hey, you keep doing it, you're going to lose this privilege. You're going to lose that privilege. You keep doing it, do it again, then you're going to suffer the physical punishment of saying, hey, I'm going to pop you on the butt because I don't want you to go out and hurt somebody else because that's what the fuck you want to do. It don't work that way. That's what you need to do. That's how you explain it to a kid. You have to tear them down and build them back up. Stop tearing kids down and not building them back up. You're not putting anything into them. And if you don't put nothing into them, all you're doing is you're just raising a broken vessel. And when that kid gets older, they don't have anything to stand on because they've been nothing but tore down from the beginning. That's it and that's all. Be better parents in that aspect to say, well, hey, maybe what I'm doing might be all I know, but just because it's all I know don't mean it's the right thing to do. That's all I'm saying. It's like, so you have to keep in mind, yeah, you don't reward bad behavior. I am a proponent of that. I don't give a fuck what it is. You do not reward bad behavior. But you also have to realize that kids sometimes just fuck up. They sometimes just make mistakes. They sometimes will do stupid shit. They sometimes will just go left. And your job as the captain of that ship, the captain of their life, is to just right the ship. Sometimes you got to make a sharp correction, but sometimes you can gradually just get them right back on course. It's just like when you're driving a car. You don't always have to just turn the wheel when some shit goes left or you're going the wrong way. You don't always have to just jerk the wheel the other way. Sometimes you just have to put on the signal and gradually get back over the way you're supposed to be. Turning the wheel just a little bit, just to smoothly get right back in your lane. You can do the same thing with the kid with that. But my biggest thing I'm going to say is that you don't need to humiliate or embarrass your kid on social media to prove a point and to teach them a lesson. If you're going to teach your kid, teach them. You don't have to embarrass them. Embarrassment and humiliation is not teaching them a thing when you're doing it on social media. It's just not. I saw another video of a parent who her kid was making fun of a kid who had cancer at school. And she went on public media, on social media, and cut all of her daughter's hair off. Teachable moment? Absolutely. Teach your kid a lesson? Yup. But you didn't need to humiliate the kid and put them on social media. You let that kid go to school like that. You sit that kid down first with that other kid and explain to them why that kid hair is like that. Why that kid is bald. And you tell them, if you ever make fun of this kid ever again in life, if I ever hear you joking about this kid, laughing at this kid, I'm going to cut your hair so that your hair will look just like that kid's. That's teaching a kid a lesson. You don't do that. And if you do, this is what's going to happen. That's my point in all of this. Teach your kids as opposed to first and foremost trying to just always embarrass them and trying to humiliate them so that you can get an attaboy, so that you can get a go ahead mama, so that you can get a that's right girl. Show them, tell them, you got to teach them. Yeah, that's nonsense. And we got to stop always trying to cheer on bullshit and cheering on bad behavior just because we grown. You don't know how to, sometimes you can make the wrong decision, and just because you a mama don't make you right. Just because you a daddy and you doing some shit to your son or you doing some shit to your daughter and you think it's the right thing to do, that don't make it right. And if you're going to put something on social media, put the whole narrative on social media. Put the part where you told them about it. Put the part on there where you warned them about it. Put the part on there where you gave them the consequences about it. To show that there's a progression. To show that, hey, this was the last straw. To show that, hey, I've told you time and time again, now we're at this point. I told you the next time that you do this, I was going to do this, and now I have to deliver and stick to my word. Do that, as opposed to just trying to do some shit to get likes. Because a lot of times you can explain something to a kid, you can show a kid what it is and why it is that you're telling them what they need to do, even if they don't understand it, but setting that expectation to where they will do it. I just had to get that shit out, man. I'm just tired of seeing our people just do the worst to our children. I'm tired of seeing our people just totally just disrespect, humiliate, and embarrass our kids, and they don't do the other side to where you see them being good parents on social media the same exact way. You never had that issue with your daughter, Jason, because you spent time with your kid since day one. You wanted to make sure that you raised your kid to be the best reflection of you and your child's mother since day one. You ain't gonna have no problem about your kid. Because the time when your kid did do something wrong, did mess up, did step up, you were the one to go ahead and say, hey, this is what it is I'm expecting of you. You kicked ass. That's why you kick ass. But I guarantee you didn't beat your daughter to the ground. A spanking goes a long way once you've explained to a kid why the kid is getting a spanking. A spanking goes a long way when you've explained to the kid not to do something. You explain to them if they do it again, this is what's going to happen. And then they get a spanking for it because they've tested that line. They've tried to cross that line. Absolutely. I've spanked my kid maybe 3 times. If that, maybe 2. I can only think of 2 times. And they were all, hey, this was the 3rd time I done told you. Now next time, I'm going to spank you if you do it again. That's what it is. So it's like there was a leading up to. It just wasn't the initial thing. And I didn't put none of the shit on Facebook. And I didn't beat the kid to the ground. I wasn't stomping the kid. I didn't put bruises on the kid to where the kid had to put some shit on it to make it feel better. I didn't do that to the kid. Exactly. She knew that you were going to spank her because you had taught her before. This is what's going to happen. You didn't take a fucking 2x4 and whack the shit out of her, snap her upside the head, telling her why she acting like a thot. I saw that video and I didn't even want no parts of that. So it's like there has to be a complete cycle. You have to teach the kid what it is you expect of them, why you expect it of them. You have to teach the kid that if they continue to do it, it won't be tolerated and there are going to be consequences and repercussions. And yes, you may have to deliver on that. But it shouldn't be on social media, and that shouldn't be the first course of action. That's all I'm saying. So I didn't want to spend too much time on this. I just knew I had to do it. I just knew I had to say something about it because I'm sick of fucking our parents doing shit that doesn't make any sense. I'm sick of our parents being the ones that's always doing the worst of the worst and ain't putting nothing on social media that's just great. We see more bad shit coming from us than we see good shit. And that's because we don't post, we don't make this shit go viral. We don't put out the good of what we do on our social media, but we'll damn sure put the bad. And that's going to get shared 174,000 times. Because it's funny. Because it happened to me. Because I seen it and I seen the way they was screaming or the way they was hollering, whatever the case may be. You gotta have balance in life, man. Plain and simple. Be better parents. Want to be better parents. Strive to be better parents. Strive to do something different and something better every single day. I hope that this video has helped somebody or will help somebody become a better version of themselves. I am Brian Redmond. This is the Relationship Rehab. Stop humiliating and embarrassing your kids on social media. Please. Peace, and I'm out.